Hi, my name is Kayla, and I'm going to be doing a verbal analysis of Michizane's poems in week 4. Starting off with how this relates to time, to starting off with how this relates to the times. In the text, it describes Michizane as protesting innocence while sharing personal hardship. I think this is a really relevant and true theme to today, particularly in America, because you see people innocently incarcerated and being failed by a system that's supposed to be in place to protect people. And I think that is a similar parallel to Michizane. Obviously, it's not as a dramatic personal backstabbing experience as Michizane experience, but I think it holds true and his poems could be heard and used and related to in a lot of ways. And how these systems are supposed to be here for people in their best interests, but they're the ones that are failing them and causing them the worst interest. The whole reason I chose this week for Michizane poems is one, he's the symbol of education and it's finals week. So I was like, hopefully this brings me some good luck. Also, it interests me because he has kind of a very honest and humble beginnings, and I think he has his climb to success is maybe relatable to even people today and the American dream in some ways. So he had scholars' parents, and his father went to China. And this was really interesting to me because I wondered if this influenced Michizane in any way in his development and like social prowess, because this push pull relationship between China and Japan, especially this period, which is like asserting Japaneseness and trying to get out of the shadow of China, and whether if Japan's a product of China or what is Japan's culture outside of Chinese culture. It's just this interesting push pull relationship that you see throughout history. He went to university and became a scholar and a professor, and then went off to be a provisional governor. And then he rose throughout the courts and ministry of the right. And going back, I think this is kind of interesting that this system was in place at the time, this court, that you didn't need to be an aristocrat or you didn't need to be a predominant family with a good name, that you could just use the system, become educated, and you could rise. And you see this with Michizane, because even though he was from a somewhat low aristocratic family and did have some level of privilege and was ahead of some people, he still rose very far, way past maybe his potential in different periods. And he became this symbol of education and good luck for education and just scholarliness. Even though this system and kind of the court really failed him and hurt him. But I think it's kind of the lore around that, the lore behind his vengeful ghost, how there was some unprecedented deaths and lightning striking down and things like that. I just think it makes it really interesting and real, and it makes me wonder if like that really was his ghost, because karma and the universe kind of always finds a way to balance itself out. Now going into analyzing his poems. The first one, the ninth month, 10th day. A year ago today, it's about him being a year ago today in the courts presenting his Autumn Nights poem to the emperor and being gifted an imperial robe, and how he keeps it in this box and how it has its lingering scent. This poem reads very sad, longing, lonely, and missing something he once had, and maybe regretting things that brought him there. It doesn't necessarily have that sharp, spiteful, vengeful edge that his other poems do. And I think this is a really honest, true. This is a very honest and true reflection of him and how he feels, even though he's protesting his innocence and his how he's protesting his innocence and how he was wrongly accused and everything like that. He's still maintaining this reality that it's very sad what happened to him, and that he's not thriving, and that this is probably what's keeping him alive, is that fire that of his innocence, that without that keeping him going, he probably would just be a pretty miserable, even more miserable person than he is now. And then Autumn Nights, 15th day, 9th month. I think it's really interesting how you use entrapped ensnared of the trappings of glory, imprisoned amidst rustic weeds. I think using the words ensnared and trappings of glory brings you outside, and I think it's really beautiful how he used that like outdoor, very visual reference, and then bring comparing it to his exile to imprisoned in the rustic weeds, and how exile is probably one of the worst things you can do because you're a prison amongst rustic weeds, and how you're not trapped in the cell, you're not there at the court, and how he's out with nobody. And I also liked the usings of ensnared and trap. I like the word ensnared. I think that's a perfect word. And trappings of glory, because he really was tricked and kind of trapped into this scheme. He was trying to become a successful minister of the right, rise to the system, and then he was trapped, framed, and then exiled. And that if this idea of glory is what brought him here, and that's ended up kind of trapping him and ending his demise. He also uses the moonlight, a mirror reflecting no crime, no end to the protest. And I think with the no end to the protest, it really legitimized to me that this man, throughout his journey of exile, which is like thousands of miles going to the edge of Japan, he was just protesting that he was innocent and that he didn't do anything, and how no one would listen, no one cared, the emperor didn't care, how he was seeing the system that he devoted his life to and rose in and believed in and was loyal to really failed him, and kind of his reality of that being shattered. And I was just thinking towards the end of his life, that's kind of very sad and kind of melancholy to think about. And so I guess I was just feeling very sympathetic for Michizane and hoping to be blessed with some of his good luck by giving some respects to his story.